Welcome everybody. This is Ade with Art Matters, and we're going to be doing some art today. We're going to be working with the color blue. But before we get into the art, I just wanted to take a moment to, like as you have seen in our previous videos, we go over community agreements, we go over the mission statement. So just going to go over that. I'm going to go over the materials we're going to use, explain a little bit what we're doing, and then we'll get started. So first off, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go ahead with the Art Matters mission statement. And so the Art Matters mission statement is, the Art Matters Youth Arts Project is a group of teaching artists who bring authentic, engaging arts experiences to Albuquerque youth. Our content is designed to engage participants in art making with a focus on social justice, whole person health, community, joy, and creative engagement is at the core of our process. So that's just a little bit about us, about who we are. And the next one is going to be some community agreements. So we like to do community agreements before we, enter a space or try to create a space to make sure everyone is on the same page. So our very first community agreement is that everyone has a voice. We want everyone's voice to be heard. We want to make space for all respectful questions, concerns, ideas. We want to learn from each other. So yeah, don't be afraid to use your voice, to be heard. Second one is respect, of course, for each other, for yourself, for the tools and materials, for your ideas. Respect for the environment. Throw glitter, not shade. Respect for the process. We want you all to engage in the process. Want to hold space for joy, and of course, have fun. And the next one is going to be an artist and a maker. Take creative risks. Try something new. Create. Don't be afraid to do all these things, to take those risks. Sometimes when you take risks, the best art is made. Because it's not about being perfect, and it's not about, this perfection. Like, just feel free to just, flow with it, go with it. Everyone is an artist. Last one is lift each other up and share, ask questions, listen, give thoughtful, productive feedback, collaborate. Don't be afraid to share your artwork with each other, celebrate each other. If you want to give feedback, you can do so, in a productive, kind way. All feedback is welcome. All right, and with that, we'll get started. Switch back to my screen. All right, turn this music off real quick. All right, so today we're gonna do what's called Experiences in Blue. And we're gonna be working with the color blue. And I wanted to specifically do this little art activity because the Albuquerque Museum recently had an art exhibition which was called Indelible Blue. And it explored, the history, the techniques, the movement of the color indigo, which is like a blue purple. And it traced different varieties of the plant. So the color blue comes from an actual plant. And it's like a really nice, pretty blue flower. So, it traced different varieties of plants back to different regions and cultures all over the world that had used this dye for centuries. And then, so this exhibition featured artists from all over the world working with this indigo color, as well as historical objects from Asia, Africa, South Asia, all of the Americas, and even there was even some from New Mexico too. There were some really cool rugs that use this blue. So with that, I wanted to kind of just do some, experiments with this and see what we can come up with. And I also wanted to introduce the art concept of monochromatic, which basically means you only use one color throughout your whole art piece. And what that can look like, and I'll show you right now, is something like this. So I used the color blue, but as you can see, I used different what's called shades and tints. So see how this blue is even a little bit darker than this blue. And I also used different mediums. So I used marker, I used some highlighter, I used color pencil, and then I even used watercolor and blue pen. So they're all the color blue, but they're all different shades, tints, mediums, textures. So that's what monochromatic is. It's basically one color, but it can look different. So like if you think of a black and white photo, it's all one color, but it's a different shade, a different tint. Some is lighter, some is darker. So that's basically what we're gonna kind of experiment with today. We're gonna kind of, we're gonna do a warm up just to kind of get your brains going, your hands moving, kind of stretch your hands a little bit, a little warm up, and then we'll get into our main project, main art activity. All right, so let's actually go over materials real quick before we get into the warm up. So the first thing you want is a piece of paper, maybe a couple sheets of paper. You can always like, what I did was cut this paper in half with from a regular size paper. So just a piece of paper. Take our paper. If you have the art kits with you, you will have options of different blues, pens, markers, and color pencils and watercolor. If you don't, you could use whatever blues you have now. You can use crayon, you can use pen, you can use blue pencil, you can use a blue chalk pastel. So right here with me, I have a blue marker, a blue highlighter, a blue color pencil, and then I have some watercolors here that we can use too. All right. So now, clear a space, make space for, if you need to pause the video to go get water for your watercolor or get your materials, you can go ahead and do that. And then if not, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So the first thing we wanna do is we're just gonna do a little warm up, just to kind of warm up our hand and get it moving. We're just gonna do a doodle. So if you wanna take a blue pen or whatever you're doodling with, just one for now, so it could be a blue pen, blue color, color pencil. And, just real quick, what are some things, we're gonna do this for like 2 minutes. What are some things in your environment or your life environment that are blue? Just what are the first things that come to mind? So we're gonna do this for a couple minutes, just as a warm up. And yeah, okay, go ahead and get started. So think of things that are blue in your environment. Or just like in your world, in the world, the color blue. Just gonna do this for a minute. I'll do blueberries. I'm gonna do a hot air balloon. Doesn't have to be perfect, just whatever comes to mind. As we don't want to think about it too much, we just we're trying to loosen up we're trying to get our brain to go from left to right, so it's more creative. We can even put the ocean, water. Flowers. Whatever comes to mind, first thing. We're gonna do another couple of minutes, actually another few seconds. All right. So that's it. You can even do more doodles if you want. Just to kind of warm up your hand real quick. All right. So that's just a quick basic doodles, trying to get your brain thinking about blue, warming up your hand and getting things onto paper. So that was the first thing. That was just a quick little warm up. And next thing, if you want to get your second sheet of paper, we're going to go ahead and go on to the main activity. So this is kind of what I created from, just as an example of what we're going to do. So again, I'll just go over it again. We're gonna, just for this one, we're just gonna, so we've already thinking about things that are blue, right? So on this next one, doesn't necessarily have to be things that are blue, could be anything. So if you want to start with lines, you can start with lines, you can start with shapes, you can start with an image, you can start with words if you want, but it's all gonna be in blue. So how I started this one, and how you guys can start it too, is just I had a marker. You could do a pen or marker, colored pencil. Just started making some shapes. Started making some lines. Started making shapes. Try to fill your page with different shapes, different lines. You can do curvy lines. You can even do more square if you don't want to be too wavy. Circles, whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be, don't have to think about it too much. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. You can either pause or continue. I'm going to play some music so you guys can continue working. And then we'll come back in a couple of minutes after the song. You can do patterns too, if you want to do some patterns. You can experiment with different lines, types of lines. Don't be afraid to cross over. See? Cross over like this. And then you just have more spaces now. And if you want to do images, you can also do some images. So you can do a little heart or something. Whatever comes to mind. All right, so the main idea, if you want, you can go ahead and pause if you need more time, but we're gonna go ahead and come back. So yeah, you can pause and take your time. There's no rush, no stress. This next part is also gonna take a little bit more time too, but for the video's sake, we're just gonna keep going. So once you have your shapes, your lines, your design, basically, once you have your design and you like it, we can start filling it in. So we'll fill in the different spaces here. So see, we have all these different spaces. They're all different. You can separate it by the line. See how here is different than here. So we're just gonna go ahead and start filling all the spaces that we see different shades of blue. So again, I'll show you my other example. So as you can see, I have this blue is different than this blue, and it's in a different shape. We even did like the moon again, so different shapes. Also, it was watercolor and marker and color pencil. So for this next one, we'll go ahead and start that again. I'm gonna start with watercolor. And just we'll get some blue in here, some blue watercolor. And I'm gonna just, start filling things in. You guys can go ahead and start filling things in as well. And so we got our first color down. So you can take as much time as you need. I'm just kind of going through it. And yeah, just filling it in. Different shades of blue. So that was a marker, and now I'm gonna do a color pencil. So let's see, I'll do the color pencil here. And see how it's a little bit lighter than the marker and the watercolor. It just brings a different texture. So we want different mediums and textures to really make this little artwork pop. Right, and then let's see, let's use a highlighter now. So this is a really different kind of blue. It's real bright. So we'll go ahead and maybe do this little lightning bolt, real bright, but more solid. So yeah, and then here, see it ends here because there's a line right here. So I'm just gonna stop it there. And then I'll do the birthday. Yeah, just experiment, have fun. Try new things, this is just for play, for experimenting. There's no, it doesn't have to be perfect, and see what you like, see what you don't like. Let's see. So yeah, and then once you're done with this, feel free to add any other images, symbols, words to your artwork. Yeah, again, the only rule is this activity is that it's in different shades and values of blue. And yeah, share with each other, inspire each other, see what other people are doing, get inspired by each other. And then just some questions to consider before, or when you're working, or when you're, in your process is what are some things that come to mind when you think of the color blue or indigo? And then in what ways can you think of how it has, impacted your life, if it has in any way? What does it make you feel when you think of the color blue? Because it's, colors can bring up feelings, emotions. And so what does it make you feel too? What do you want to say with this color? What do you want to say with your image? And I think that's it. As a reminder, we're doing a monochromatic artwork. So a monochrome painting is a work of art that consists of a single color. And the word actually monochrome literally means one color. But it's pretty, it's pretty popular. People use it, more than you would think. And so, monochromatic paintings have become very powerful ways to provoke deep personal experiences, feelings, emotions, motivating artists to explore emotions and spirituality through this artwork. So it's actually really, it's a very, I like it. It's a very cool way to do art, because it seems limiting, because you're like, oh, I can only use one color. But when you think about it, it actually makes you be more creative, because you have to think a little bit more. You have to dig a little bit more into what colors you're going to use to really make it stand out. Really, yeah, it kind of makes you use your brain a little bit. So yeah, with that, we'll end. But I hope you have a great time doing this artwork. And yeah, we'll see you next time.